Hi, I'm Mary Crowley, and this is Draw. Drawing frequently begins with a line, with a scribble perhaps, with a doodle, and then a drawing. All kinds of people draw. They do it in meetings. They do it at the beach. They do it in their spare time. That's what I do. And I think it's really important for people to draw. I have some examples here of works of art that began with a drawing. Molly Saunders is an artist in Middlebury, and I'm going to show you some of her work. This began as a line drawing. Molly said that's how she begins all of her art. And you can see, it's not a butterfly in the conventional sense. There's a scene there, a landscape. Next one, these are all from Molly, a fish, a stylized fish. You can still see the line. A cat looking at a butterfly. An EMS vehicle with her feeling about an EMS vehicle. She volunteers, and she showed the fact that she thought EMS is a very good idea. This is a heart, but it's a whimsical heart with color, with curlicues, with a background of yellow. An owl. And this you can definitely see the line. A flower superimposed on a heart. There's a feeling there. That's what drawing does. It allows people to show their feelings on a piece of paper. I'm going to show you something that I began last time that I did an episode of Draw. I went to a National Geographic, an old one. I have a lot of them, thanks to Carol Robbins. And the issue was about the snowy owl. And I went inside and read about the snowy owl, which lives in the Arctic, and I loved what I read. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to draw a snowy owl. And so I did. What I did on the show was, I started out with my usual non-dominant hand drawing. It's my left hand. That's the hand that is not under my control a lot of the time. And so I know it's not going to be a wonderful drawing. Then I went on to a blind drawing, and then finally a gesture drawing, which was essentially the outline, the edges, what I perceived, 3 different sections of feathers. Then I didn't have time to complete a final drawing, so I did it at home. And it was very relaxing and peaceful, and I tried to get the markings in and some of the shadow, because the light was coming from up above and to the left. And I don't know, it's hard to describe for somebody who doesn't draw. There is a focus on the subject, whether it's a snowy owl or a dog or a flower or a ship or a plane. There's a focus, and everything else disappears. And that's what's great about drawing. This is a drawing. It's actually a copy of a drawing of Mother Teresa Jessica Hoff did it many, many years ago in my, let's see, I'll put it up here, in my art class at Rutland High School. And Mother Teresa was a devout woman, a nun who worked in India among the poorest of the poor, picking up people who were dying on the streets of Calcutta and taking them to her special place, where there were other nuns who did the work with her of ministering to the poorest of the poor. And this, I think, it's a profound piece. It's a sacred piece. Jessica got the spirit of Mother Teresa. All right, so today I am going to draw an elephant. And this is the elephant that I happen to have at home. And I just like elephants so much. They're the largest land animal. They're caring. They're threatened. They're beautiful. They're big. They're so much fun to watch. A video on television online will bring you lots of elephants. You can watch them in action. I just like elephants so much, so I decided this would be what I would do today. Now, this is what I did for a Chaffee Art Center program about a week ago. I just thought, okay, I want to do an elephant. I'm not going to be concerned about whether or not it's anatomically correct. I'm just going to have some fun. I'm going to draw the way I used to draw when I was young. And I had a good time. And I made the elephant smiling. You can see that. It's not a realistic picture. It's just a whimsical picture. Sometimes, when drawing, people decide that they are going to block in the main shapes first, lightly, and then draw on top. If you go online, go to YouTube, how to draw an elephant, how to draw a giraffe, how to draw a zebra, how to draw a hippopotamus, you will find many, many choices. Some are very simple, and some are more complex. So if you did this particular outline, then you might end up with this. This is not the elephant I'm doing. The trunk is different, but this is an elephant. All right, let's start. And what I'm doing is I'm holding the elephant in my right hand, which is my dominant hand, and I'm going to try to get some sort of a representation of the elephant. I'm going to start with the head. And here's the back. This is certainly a wiggly line. And here's the big foot. And then it goes up like this. And here's another leg. And the foot. Up it goes. Here's the head. And this particular elephant has its mouth open, so it goes down. And then there's a place where the tusk comes out. And the trunk goes up and around and down. And then the eye is here. Now notice how primitive this drawing is. Let's put in the tail. And the leg that's in back. And this leg, which is forward. And there. Now, that really doesn't resemble this elephant, but it was a seeing exercise. The ear is here. This is an Asian elephant, so the ear is smaller than the African elephant. All right, now I'm going to go to a blind drawing. The blind drawing is done to see, just as the non-dominant hand is done to see. And I can hold this in my left hand now because I'm not going to do it with my non-dominant hand. I'm doing it with my right hand, the hand I always use. Okay, here's the head, the back, and around, and here's this foot and this leg, and then it goes up and down and up and here, the mouth, which is open, and then the tusk. Wonderful curve to this trunk. The trunk is used to drink water, to move bushes and trees. This needs to come a little higher. The floppy ear, the eye, the tusk, the tail, the back leg, and the other front leg. This one seems to be going forward. The toes, and this is somewhat recognizable as an elephant. Let me now show you an exercise incorporating the 4 different ways of drawing. The first one is a non-dominant. It's light. It's light to a certain extent because the non-dominant hand doesn't have as much strength as the dominant hand. And this is my left hand. Then this is blind, and all the lines come together because I was seeing it. Actually, I'm going to do the second drawing over again because I wasn't blind for the most part because I had to move the elephant that I was holding. This is a gesture drawing. This is get down the essentials quickly and see if you have really seen things. And this is true. Then I went on to the extended drawing and I decided to do something that was light and shadow and spend some time on it. Again, that wonderful focus that you get when you're just doing one thing. All right, so I'm going to have another piece of paper. And I'm going to hold that elephant again. And holding the elephant, okay, blind to the paper. Here we go. I may go off the paper. I'm going to start with the trunk this time. The head, the body, the back leg, the front leg, up, the mouth, which is open, the tusk, which comes out, and then the other part of the trunk. I suspect this isn't in the right place. All right, and here's the eye, and the ear, the floppy ear. Here is the back leg, the other back leg, and here's the other front leg, which is stepping out, and here is the tail. Oh my goodness, that's what a blind drawing is supposed to look like. It doesn't look like much of anything. But it's a seeing exercise. It's not to give to anybody. It's not to necessarily show anybody. All right, now the gesture drawing. And I'm going to switch to a black crayon just because it seems to me it allows me to be a little more flexible and to make a line that I like a little better. All right, I'll start here. Now wait, I need to hold this away. All right. All right, I'm holding it so that I can see it. And the head. The crayon allows me to make a sort of sketchy line, which I like very much. Then around we come. Then down. In the mouth. And then from here, the tusk coming out. And then the trunk, up and around. And the trunk seems to get wider as it goes back toward the head. And here is the eye, which has a kind of lid and sort of a fold beneath it. The ear, and there's a tongue that shows on this elephant. Then the tail, the back leg, the front legs stepping out. Okay, and that is my gesture drawing. And I'll just kind of indicate in here. The elephant has flesh that's kind of droopy and lots of creases. And same thing in the trunk. There are 40,000 muscles in the elephant's trunk. 40,000, imagine. All right, so that's a representation of an elephant. Not exactly this elephant, but it allows me to go on to the next stage. All right. All right, I'm not talking because it allows me to focus more easily. The toes, not all of which show here. Enormous weight that these feet have to bear from the elephant. Okay, that will have to do. I have a little bit more to show you. That looks like an elephant. That's not my best elephant. Maybe I'll do an elephant at home and for the next episode show you at the beginning. But it certainly is an elephant. It's not another animal. I have to show you some essentially drawings, but they're done with marker, so they're color. And I did them for a Chaffee program that was called Healing Through Art. And it was, I think, the third in a series, and it may be still going on. But the fact is that when you do art, you can heal yourself. There's no question about it. So I took an afternoon and I just put down on paper with markers my feelings. And in this one, I was feeling down, blue, sad, stressed, lonely. I was feeling negative emotions. On one side of the paper is the sun was shining, the tulips are out, the grass is growing, things are moving, nature is coming back to life, indicated by the lines coming out from the sun and from the tulips. But there I am, boxed in by dark blue lines on the other side. I'm just a face that's trapped, no body, not moving, just feeling negative. The next one is essentially the same thing, except this doesn't have to do with spring. This has to do with what's happening around me, the voices that are coming at me, contradictory voices. Can't go to church, wear your mask, wash your hands. Republicans, Democrats, Raiders, Ravens, Rutland Free Library, all kinds of voices, and bad news with coronavirus, COVID-19. It's everywhere. People are dying. They're being buried. I am again trapped in a different kind of way. But I just am not able to get away from the bad news. Troops coming home from Afghanistan, those are the marching figures. It was a helpful exercise. This is one of a number of pieces I did like this, but it seems to me this shows very clearly. Maybe I have to insulate myself to some extent from the bad news. Then, at some point, I wrote this. The world is so full of a number of things, I should think we would all be as happy as kings. This used to be my mantra. I used to think, okay, look for the bright side of things. Figure out how to be happy in your own skin, no matter what happens. And then as soon as I wrote this and I started to put down the red and the yellow and the green, I thought, oh, I feel better. I just feel better. And that's what art does. It helps you. And then last of all, when I was making marks on paper that afternoon, this was a kind of breakout. I felt, okay, I feel good. I can break out of myself. I'm not going to do anything realistic. This idea came from Carolyn Shattuck. Do something. Don't just stay stuck. Do something. So that's it. I'm trying to encourage you to draw. No matter what happens with drawing, if you're just drawing from your imagination, if you're just doodling and all of a sudden it winds up being an animal, it doesn't matter. Draw, I hope. Bye-bye.